Hello, my friends. Most people think businesses are built by geniuses. And here's the thing: the majority of great businesses in the world were not created by brilliant minds, they were created by disciplined, consistent, realistic people. So, here's today's question: what really make a business succeed even without genius? Welcome, my friends. I'm Fred. Here we talk about investment, business, real life, and training, always from my personal perspective. And today, we are going to talk about something very important: why genius is not required to build a successful business. To be honest, I don't even like this genius genius talk. It gives the impression that success only happens when someone makes a huge leap, takes a massive risk, or has some strate- extraordinary idea. I don't believe in that. I believe it's something much simpler. Brick by brick, step by step, day by day. Of course, there are true geniuses in business. Elon Musk is a genius. Steve Jobs was a genius. People like that exist, but they are one in a million, maybe 1 in 10 million. Most of us are not Elon Musk. We don't need to be. The good news is you don't need genius to win in business. What you need is much more practical. So, what really makes a business succeed? In my experience, it comes down to very basic things: realistic planning, keeping your feet on the ground, doing the math, understand the advantage, being consistent over time. And that's it. Nothing magical, nothing extraordinary, just solid, rational execution. Let me give you a practical example from my own life. Years ago, when I started investing in real estate, I didn't invent anything revolutionary. I simply looked at the numbers. I bought a piece of land here in Brazil, sold my car to finance part of the project, and built my first industrial warehouse, a small warehouse here in Brazil. There was not genius in that. There was just math. The key was understanding one thing: where is the real advantage in your business? For me, the advantage wasn't buying and selling ready properties. The advantage was creating value through construction. Take an empty piece of land and transforming into something useful. That transformation was the real profit. And that's an important lesson. Every business has an advantage somewhere. Your job is to identify it and focus on it. That's your job. Over the years, I learned dozens of small, practical things that make a huge difference. None of them are genius, but all of them matter. For example, in warehouse construction here in Brazil, align the building with the street level. Here you have the street level, here you have the building. Avoid ramps whenever possible. Make the main door as large as possible. Avoid columns in the middle of the space. These are simple details, but they are dramatically increase the number of potential tenants, the rental value, the usability of the property. Three small decisions, zero genius, massive impact. And that's how real businesses grow. Not through one brilliant idea, but through hundreds of small improvements over time. You learn, you adjust, you improve again, step by step. Recently, I watched a video from a small business owner who runs a burger restaurant. Nothing glamorous, nothing extraordinary. He made about 200,000 in revenue in an entire year, not per month, per year. He runs the business with his brother. Their salary is basically the same as regular employee. And you know what? I admire that guy deeply. He explained everything in detail. Revenue, gross profit, net profit, pricing strategy, fixed costs. He said they started using their mother's cookware. Think about that. They gave up their own salaries to reinvest in the business. That's not genius. That's a real entrepreneurship, planning, discipline, sacrifice, consistency. That's the thing. He explained something very simple but powerful. In the raw material of a burger costs 10 reais, for example. You cannot sell it for 12 and expect to survive. To have 15 to 20% of real profit, you often need to sell it for double of the cost. So, if it costs 10 reais, you need to sell it for 20 because half of the price will go to fixed expenses. That's not creativity again. That's mathematics. And mathematics is what keeps businesses alive. Most businesses fail. People often say, that's true. But why is that? Because many of them are created by adventurers, not by planners. People who open businesses without studying the market, without understanding costs, knowing their customers, doing basic calculations. Bad planning meets reality and dies immediately. But here's the thing, good planning doesn't guarantee success, but it gives you a fighting chance. It helps you survive long enough to adjust. Bad planning, on the other hand, collapses at the first obstacle. And that's where the myth comes from. Planning doesn't work. No, bad planning doesn't work. I have a friend who works in the trucking business. He owns several trucks and drivers. He once told me the most complicated part of a truck is not the engine, it's the piece behind the steering wheel, the driver. Over 20 years, he learned how to hire the right people, keep the good drivers, negotiate properly, manage problems. And is he a genius? No, he just experienced and discipline. And that's enough. That's the pattern you see everywhere. Thousands of business in Brazil. Restaurants, bakeries, pharmacies, small factories, services companies. Do you think all those owners are geniuses? Of course not. They are normal people who learn to deal with their business, keep accounts in order, control expenses, serve customers, adapt to reality. Let me give you a final simple example. Imagine you want to build a house to sell. You calculate land cost 100, construction 200, total cost 300. If the market price is 500, great business. But if land 200, construction 300, market price 500, then it doesn't work. No genius required, just basic arithmetic. And that's why you see many successful entrepreneurs with little formal education. They may not know complex theories, but they understand numbers and reality, real life, margins, risk, simple things. And most importantly, they learn through experience. So, coming back to the question, what makes a business succeed even without genius? In my opinion, feet on the ground, realistic planning, doing the math, discipline, consistency, patience, learning step by step. Nothing fancy, just solid execution over time. Now, I'd like to hear from you. What do you think makes a business succeed without genius? Leave your opinion in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I see you, my friends, in the next video.